We'll call our meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Seaside Park in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, June 20th, 2024, advertised to begin at the conclusion of the work session, which has just ended moments ago. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication to the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2024. Notice of this meeting of the governing body has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building, also and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Here.
Councilmember Condos?
Here.
Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Peterson?
Here.
Thank you.
Let us all now rise together for a moment of silence to be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is a proclamation, and that is a proclamation to be presented at some event this particular summer to the members of the Seaside Park Yacht Club. And the Yacht Club is celebrating this summer season its 125th anniversary. And that celebration actually comes 1 year after the 125th anniversary of the Borough of Seaside Park. And I can read it into the record, and it reads as follows. It's in honor of the celebration of the 125th anniversary of the Seaside Park Yacht Club. And whereas the Seaside Park Yacht Club was incorporated on August 29th, 1899, quote, to promote yachting and rowing, to foster athletic sports upon the water, and to promote the general prosperity of Seaside Park. And whereas the incorporation of the Seaside Park Yacht Club galvanized other locations to take up the spirit of yacht racing, such as Island Heights, Bayhead, Manloking, and Lavalette. And whereas the Seaside Park Yacht Club has helped foster a vibrant sailing community and is one of the founding clubs of the Barnegat Bay Yacht Racing Association, and whereas in its 125 years, the Seaside Park Yacht Club has held true to its founding principle, with not only its promotion of sailing, but in the promotion of the general prosperity of Seaside Park, bolstering the community with social events throughout 2 world wars and the Great Depression. And now therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Seaside Park in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim and celebrate August 29th, 2024 as the official 125th celebration of the historic Seaside Park Yacht Club, and we hereby encourage all visitors to recognize and participate in events throughout the summer season, and that proclamation to be presented to the Yacht Club in the future during one of the events this summer. And their kickoff event is actually, I believe, this Sunday at 10 a.m. And
10 o'clock.
that is a 5K walk run. And so I know that's just starts off the many events that they're planning in that organization. So we all join in congratulating them and wishing them our best.
Registration's at 9 if anybody wants to do it. The race kicks off at 10. Yes.
I think you're going to be the only runner up here.
The next item on the agenda are the minutes, June 6, 2024, a work session, June 6, 2024, a regular meeting.
I'll make the motion there.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft,
Second.
second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
And next on the agenda is final reading and adoption. It's ordinance 22420, authorizing the sale of Block 57, Lot 2, I Street. Any questions, comments from council? This is a second reading. Hearing none, I'll go into the audience if there are any public questions or comments on second reading hearing of the ordinance. Hearing none, I'll close the public portion and I'd entertain a motion from council.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next are authorizations. The first is the Seaside Park Historical Society 4th of July Bike Parade on July 4th, 2024, 9 to 10:30 a.m. Location 14th Avenue Bay to the lot at Bayview Avenue. It's from 3rd Avenue to 13th, and any approval would be conditioned upon a permit from Ocean County and a hold harmless agreement. The second is the Seaside Semper 5K and 1 mile run, date September 14th, 2024, 9 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. Its location, Boardwalk C Street to Porter Avenue and Porter Avenue to C Street, and that approval would be conditioned upon a permit from Ocean County as well.
Mayor, on the certificate of liability insurance for the Historical Society, the borough needs to be named as an additional insured in the description of operations. Jenna, can you let them know we need to be named as additional insured in that box?
Yep.
Thank you.
And that would be an added condition if approved by the council on the second one?
On the first one, Mayor, the bike parade, we're not named as an additional insured on description of operations. We have to be named as additional insured there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Any other questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
Make the motion, Mayor. I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft, second by Council President Wilk, with the conditions. The first is the county permit, the hold harmless agreement, and naming the Borough of Seaside Park as an additional insured, and the second is conditioned upon an Ocean County permit. So with that, roll call?
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
motion approved.
Next is the payment of claims, 224-203, approval of a payment of itemized claims bill list as set forth on the check registry bill list for the time period June 7th to June 20th, 2024. Any questions, comments, or if not, a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Connor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call?
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
motion approved.
The resolutions are next. I'll read in summary fashion. 224-204 is canceling taxes, authorizing a refund pursuant to NJSA 54:4-3.32. That's a veteran's property tax exemption. 205, designating a handicap parking space on the street for private residents. 206, approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with NJDOT for fiscal year 2025 municipal aid improvements to C Street, J Street, and O Street. 207, awarding a contract to T2 Systems distributed by Integrated Technical Systems, Inc. through Sourcewell contract number 080321-TS1. 208, authorizing the adjustment of the designated water sewer utility accounts. 209, requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriations, fiscal year 2024 Clean Communities Grant. 2010, authorizing an out-of-rank pay. 211, approving the alcohol beverage control social affair permit for Padalano Foundation, Inc. 212, approving the alcohol beverage control social affair permit for the Seaside Park Yacht Club. 213, authorizing Remington Vernick Engineers to provide engineering services for the Bayfront Wave Energy Dissipation and Flood Mitigation Project. 214, requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriations, fiscal year 2024. It's a local recreation improvement grant. 215, awarding a contract to VACCON Sourcewell, contract number 101221-VAC. 216, authorizing seasonal hires for the Department of Beach Patrol. 217, authorizing an employment agreement with Police Chief Bove. 218, awarding a contract to Winter Ford. 219, appointing a Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officer for the calendar year 2024. Any questions, comments from any council members on any of the resolutions?
I have a few comments, Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, for Resolution 207, just, again, this is adding some color to the resolutions. That amount is for $96,742, and that is for 10 pay stations. In other words, the kiosks, the new kiosks. Resolution 209, the Clean Communities Grant for this year, that's an amount of $13,826.94. Resolution 214, that is another grant for local recreation improvement, and that is for $75,000. And lastly, Resolution 215, that contract is for the previously authorized capital expense for the water sewer department for a water jetter in an amount of $98,438. That's all I have there.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mayor, I'd like to add on to Resolution 215. That piece of equipment, the jetter, is a mobile jetter that's on a trailer that's replacing a piece of equipment that is out of date and needs to be replaced. So it's not an additional, it's replacing a piece of equipment that we already own. And the piece of equipment that's owned now will be auctioned off once this piece of equipment is purchased. It's used for sanitary sewer cleaning out and for maintenance. It's a needed piece of equipment.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, although it's not required by law, it's our practice to go into the audience if there are any public comments on any of the resolutions. If anyone has them, if they could give their name and address into the record. Gert?
Gertrude Martin, 812 North Bayview Avenue. I have a question about the authorization for 213, which is authorizing Remington and Vernick Engineers to provide engineering services for the Bayfront wave mitigation. Is this in reference and connected to the sheathing that would be driven in at the removal of the curb, the implementation and driving in of the sheathing from J Street, previous meeting, to, I believe, 14th?
Yes,
Is that the same thing?
that's the same thing.
Then I would totally object to it. I really feel that Remington and Vernick have never helped us in the past. They are not coastal engineers, as far as I know, and I do believe that everything the borough does to not move forward or ask, and maybe this is what Remington and Vernick should have done, what would they approve? The state and the many alphabetic organizations that we have to get approval to, what would they have approved to better handle the flooding on Bayview Avenue than what we've already tried, which was implementing bulkheading that has not helped. So I am opposed to them totally getting the contract. I do believe that the council as a whole should look to somebody who works for the Seaside Park establishment only. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Edie?
Edie Klein, 48 11th Avenue. I just have some questions for clarification. My first one is Resolution 205. I see the address. Is that in front of on the Central Avenue for the Shore and More store? Or is it for the private property just north of that? I can't tell based on the information. I'm just curious, the information based, listed in the resolution, where that is for the handicap parking.
It's for a private residence for a handicapped person, Edie.
Right.
Yeah, it says 117 feet south from the southerly curb line of 4th Avenue, extending 22 feet south. Do
Yeah,
you have an address, chief, for that?
Right here, it's one of the apartments by Shore and More.
so it's south of Shore and More. It's this side of Shore and More.
It's north of Shore.
North of Shoremore.
It's been there actually for several years. It was
Okay.
taken down by accident. We had to go through the approvals through the state to have a new sign placed there. So what's there now, that's the way it's staying. We're not adding or taking away.
Okay, no, I was just curious, because with that information that I did read in the resolution, I couldn't quite place it where it was. Okay, second question, and thank you, Councilman Kraft, for your explanation on 207 for the pay stations. Are those additional or are those replacements?
Replacements.
Okay, because they get pretty beat up by the
Yeah.
slope, I would think. 210, authorizing the out of rank pay, and I understand why that would need to be paid. My question is how does it happen that an officer would be performing at a duty that's above his rank? Is it because we don't have somebody or enough people above that rank that we need him to fill in, him or her to fill in? How does that happen?
Sure.
Yeah.
For instance, if the officer's out, extended period of time, there's one sergeant on the shift. So when he's out, a patrolman's taking that space and taking on workload, so he's compensated after whatever was set up between the PBA and the.
Right.
Yeah, it is pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement. It is in the contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I saw that. I just wondered how it happens, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, we're pretty small, so we only have one sergeant or lieutenant on the
Okay.
shift.
Okay. 214, the local recreation improvement grant that we are, I guess, requesting. What are we going to use that for?
I do, someone would ask, but offhand, I don't know how those
So-
funds are gonna be used.
Yeah, so that was a grant that we applied for in February, we've been awarded it, and it's for, working on the drainage project at the ball
Oh, the
field.
ball field.
Oh. Is this the time to ask whether we're going to have more discussion or a public meeting about the whole ball field? Because I remember when that was first presented, there was a lot of strong feeling about it.
I would think that at this point it's tabled, right? There's no plans We're not in any discussions to do
Well, that's-
anything about it. This-
Well, the fact that this would be going towards the drainage issue, that's what made me ask if we're going forward.
Yeah, no, and one of the main complaints about the ball field was the drainage. For
Okay.
example, the fencing, from my eyes, it's mostly in pretty good shape, for example.
I would agree with that.
And we have asked the engineer to give us some optional plans. Because remember, the plans that were presented during the hearing for the Green Acres loan, which we did not get, they were like, the wish list.
The Cadillac version, as you call it?
Yeah, so we've asked them for a Chevy.
So would this, great, I'm glad to hear that. Would this, this particular grant go for example, the drainage in the infield? Because I know that's a problem, as I understand it with puddles and stuff. Is that where we're gonna put this money?
It's for improving the drainage at the ball field. So it could be simply, whatever the engineer comes up with, maybe just skinning the field.
So this money's just gonna be kind of like put aside till we get the new plan?
Correct.
Well,
Right, we saw an opportunity to get a grant, and we did it.
You don't have to spend it right away, in other words.
Just like,
Okay.
let's
Okay.
get it and then
Oh,
have it and then,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm certainly glad to hear we're going for a different plan. And I think that's it, because we found out what a water jetter is last time, so thank you.
Any other comments on resolutions? Hearing none, I would close any public comment, and I'd entertain a motion from council as a consent agenda on the resolutions.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Kraft, second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes, but I'm going to abstain from 210 and 217.
Councilmember Connor,
yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
I'm going to vote yes, but also on 217. I don't disagree with the contract. I think Jim deserves it, and I wouldn't vote no because the last council beat him up pretty good, and I don't want to do that. But the process of the negotiation and stuff, I'm on the Public Safety Committee on the head. It was never brought to my attention. I'm on the Personnel Committee. It was never brought to their attention. So I don't like the process, but the result is okay. So I'm going to vote yes.
motion approved.
And that concludes the resolution agenda. Anything else at this juncture from council? I know by way of announcements, the whole council and I look forward, as do the public, for the celebration scheduled on Saturday. We already referenced the Sunday celebration, includes the 5K run for celebrating the yacht club, but Saturday is a celebration in terms of what used to be called a housing for a new pumper, is that what? And it's a new pumper fire apparatus, and the fire company is hosting with a parade and a series of events at the firehouse with food and games for children and a lot of general fun and community camaraderie. So everyone is invited to that event naturally, right at this very building. The parade is not, that's starting at
The parade marching starts at 11.
At 13th Ave?
It's starting at 13th and Bayview.
Okay.
13th Ocean.
13th
Yeah.
Ocean.
I'm at the wrong address there. Okay, we're staging at 13th and Bayview. I got it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Council.
Any other announcements from council? I know we all joined together in welcoming one of our newest employees, if not our newest, and that is Mr. Owen LaRocca, who's seated at the table next to the chief, who is our new deputy clerk. and he comes highly recommended with a terrific resume, and he's already gotten rave reviews from the whole council, governing body, and all in the borough family. So we welcome him, as I know the public would as well. Welcome aboard, Owen.
Welcome. Happy to have you.
Thank you, Owen.
Any other announcements from the council? Any other items? If not, we'll go into the audience if there's any public comments. If you have any, give your name and address into the record as per the Open Public Meetings Act. Yes, Mike?
Mike Spadafino, 59th Avenue. Because it was on that Lavalette shore beat, I just wanted to make a comment because it's probably going to come up at some point in the future about the limiting the Airbnb and cutting the point of having weekend or 3-day rentals. I know that Councilman Rotunda had expressed some reservations about that, and I also want to agree with him. You know, Seaside Heights, Seaside Park, two different towns. What they're doing in Seaside Heights, I know they have to do for certain reasons because of the popularity of their boardwalk. But I like the one part of their action, which is if somebody has a rental that they let get out of hand, that they lose their right to continue to rent, and they pull their permit, whatever you want to call it. As Councilman Rotunda had pointed out, we are having a big family gathering coming along this summer, and it's unreasonable to have my guests. I want them to be in town because I want them to enjoy this town, go to the beach, and then have that family get together. But they can't all stay at my house. There's just not enough room. And so I want them to be able to take an Airbnb 3-day rental, very responsible adults, and not lose that and have them have to rent a motel off the island and not be able to enjoy what our good town has to offer. So I agree with Councilman Rotunda that I know this is going to come up at some point, and I think we should not limit the Airbnb weekend rentals and stay with pulling permits if they are doing something that breaks the rules and Chief Bogue has to send people out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Tom Joseph, 704 South Bayview Avenue, Seaside Park. I want to talk about bayfront flooding. I mentioned in the previous time I was up here at the microphone about having had a pretty long career. I spent most of 40 years running technology developments and programs and managing program managers and programs and people. And I learned a whole bunch of things about how you manage a program. And in a sense, what we're doing about bayfront flooding is one big program. There are a lot of attributes of a program that make them successful. Is there anybody here that is going to claim that the bayfront flooding mitigation program is currently successful?
Yeah.
I
There
don't
is no
think so.
mitigation program right now.
I'm sorry?
There is no mitigation program right now, that's obvious.
Okay, so the town has got no interest in bayfront flood mitigation.
No,
We're not
saying
trying to solve
what I
that problem.
said. I said there's not one in place at this time, as you well know.
I
We're
guess
working on the
if you
None of our proposals
use
have been
the
accepted.
term as, what are we trying to do? Well, that is collectively a program. It may not be designated as a specific program, but it clearly is. It's an effort by this town to solve a problem, unless you want to argue that we aren't trying to solve the problem, because that I don't understand.
I think that, I mean, I'll just give my opinion on that, whether you call it a program. I think, Councilman Kraft is correct, there's no official program, as we've discussed many times, and I know you've already heard it many times, right? So you have the mayor's committee, of which some of the people here are part of, that have been working. In my mind, it's, a plan, a bunch of discrete activities that have taken place up until now that have not netted us the result, but I don't disagree that as a professional project manager myself, it would be nice to have a complete plan that says, here we are, here's where we're trying to go.
Well,
Which I
even
think
if
is
the
what you
plan's
said.
incomplete, because we know it's
Right, it's
incomplete.
not complete, right, but you'd have to have a plan where you're trying to
But
get
if
to.
you approach it from that standpoint, that it is a program, that we're trying to accomplish something, then you can apply those skills that you've learned, and that a number of the rest of us have also, about what makes a program successful. And I just want to touch on two of them right now. The most obvious one, at least from my career and all the things I studied about program management, is you need a program manager. You need somebody who is in charge, who may have to get authorization from his management to make decisions, but is certainly tries to make decisions and tries to solve the problems that are encountered, and feels responsible for making it successful. In effect, somebody steers the ship, and they have to report to their management, but that person exists. What I see is a bunch of committees in a variety of different aspects, and most of you, I'm sure, have heard the old chestnut about a camel as a horse designed by a committee. Well, what I've seen here is an utter failure to make progress on bayfront flood mitigation is a program managed by a committee. So I'd like to recommend that you figure out a way to put somebody in charge, and not RVE or any of the other engineering firms, somebody who has some expertise and might be willing to do something useful to push this forward. That's item one. Second one is every program I was ever involved with at any level of management, it was necessary on a periodic basis to report to the management over that program on the success or failure of staying on schedule, meeting the objectives, the milestones, etc. Well, guess what? The town council and the town administrative organization and everything reports to their managers, which is the members of the community. So we've had a lot of people parading up here to say, when are we going to have that meeting to talk about where we are and where we're going? And we never hear an answer. And we hear a whole bunch of reasons why we can't do it. But the fact is, any real program, any real objective that's worth going after, you don't just have a meeting. You have periodic meetings. I think 6-month intervals would be great for this effort. To schedule on a regular basis, every 6 months, where are we, until the problem is solved. So I'm not up here to argue for a meeting. I want a series of meetings presented to the public in the town to say, here's where we are, here's what we're trying to accomplish, here's the things we want to accomplish during the next 6 months, and here's the issues that we're encountering, and what are the obstacles that we're trying to get past to make it happen. Let's have regular meetings. And let's start with the first one soon. Thanks.
Any other public comments? Hearing, yes, Gert?
Gertrude Martin, 812 North Bayview Avenue, Seaside Park. One, I 100% agree with him. My one, I guess, differential would be that I think it should be every 3 months, because if you do it every 6 months, you're into the cycle of most people might not be here. So I think 3 months, and I don't know if he would like to volunteer.
I stand corrected.
Would you like to volunteer?
Volunteer?
To be the head of a 3-month committee. I'm not here. I wish I was 12 months.
I want whoever's working on this to come and give a public discussion of what they've accomplished and what they're going to accomplish. If you think 3 months is a more appropriate interval, I'm okay with that. But I'm not the person who's running it. I'm not either. And so I couldn't be the one.
All right, so this is public comment. You can discuss it with Mr. Joseph afterward. On doing the
Let's say
3-month
no.
intervals?
I do agree
I'm
with
sorry?
him.
It's Dr. Joseph.
Dr. Jo, oh, sorry, Dr. Joseph.
I would just say 3 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Gar. Any other public comments? Hearing none, I would close the public portion. I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Condo, second by Councilmember Connor.
Councilmember, sorry, Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yeah.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank everyone for coming.